Thank you for your interest in the Lake Whatcom Homeowner Incentive Program. This is the online recording for the Do-It-Yourself Native Landscaping Workshop for 2019. So the goals of this workshop ultimately are that homeowners install native landscaping projects to reduce phosphorus runoff into Lake Whatcom. Through the course of this workshop, we hope that you will understand the benefits of native landscaping, understand how HIP, the Homeowner Incentive Program, works, and receive the resources you need to plan, permit, and install a HIP native landscaping project. We hope you feel supported and know who to call for help by the end of this workshop. Please take out the binder you received to accompany these workshop slides. We will be referring to the materials in the binder throughout the presentation. Note that you'll see page references in some of the slides, noting where you can turn for additional information in your Native Landscaping Program Handbook. We're going to talk a little bit now about why we have the Homeowner Incentive Program. Our Lake Whatcom watershed used to be covered by mature conifer forests. Those forests acted like sponges, soaking up rainwater and stormwater runoff, allowing very little runoff to enter Lake Whatcom. With development, we've changed the watershed landscape. Note this picture from 1950. The northern part of Lake Whatcom within city limits has a little bit of development and quite a bit of trees and forest. Fast forward to 2008, note the difference. We've replaced many of our forests, those sponges that soak up water, and replaced them with hard surfaces like streets, sidewalks, and buildings that allow water to run off quickly downstream to the lake. Lake Whatcom has a number of water quality problems. There are many different reasons that add up to an impaired watershed and threats to water quality in Lake Whatcom. These include too much lawn, too much pavement, improper yard waste handling, not enough forests acting like sponges, pet waste left out in the rain, inadequate infrastructure like old stormwater systems that aren't working anymore, fertilizer use or improper fertilizer use that contains phosphorus, and stream erosion. Too much phosphorus is our primary water quality concern for Lake Whatcom. Phosphorus is necessary for plant life, and it causes algae to grow in the lake. 1 acre of forested land produces enough phosphorus runoff into the lake to grow approximately 25 pounds of algae. Compare that to a developed acre with increased phosphorus running off into the lake, so much that it increases approximately 10 times, and we have approximately 268 pounds of algae growth in the lake from 1 acre of developed runoff. There are a number of solutions to get back to a healthy watershed. This workshop and the HIP Native Landscaping Program focuses on the benefits of installing native plants and native landscaping in our developed neighborhoods. In essence, we're trying to recreate little tiny sections of native forests throughout our neighborhoods in the Lake Whatcom watershed. Native landscaping, compared to a traditional lawn and landscaping, reduces phosphorus and runoff by about 85%. Now we're going to provide a general overview of how HIP works. HIP is voluntary and non-regulatory. It provides project planning assistance and financial reimbursement for best management practices, called BMPs, that reduce phosphorus in runoff. HIP is a joint city and county program with Whatcom Conservation District assistance. And HIP is an important part of the solution to improve water quality in Lake Whatcom. There's some things HIP can't help with. HIP cannot provide assistance for improvements other than those listed for your property, in this case, native landscaping. HIP can't spend public funds without receiving a public benefit. HIP can't help with required mitigation, And HIP can't be used for new or redevelopment projects. That means you can't use HIP to complete something required by a permit. The HIP program area currently includes all of developed property in Basin 1 and Basin 2 in the Lake Whatcom watershed. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about the overall HIP program. Please refer to pages 1 and 2 of your handbook. The HIP program area has approximately 2,700 eligible properties. There's an interactive website. We offer project design tools. There's limited types of best management practices or BMPs that offer the most phosphorus reduction bang for the buck. And there's 2 different programs based on the property characteristics and phosphorus contribution. Low phosphorus impact properties drain to city and county stormwater systems. That means there's an opportunity for water quality treatment in a publicly owned facility before the water enters the lake. Low phosphorus impact properties are also smaller, with smaller lawns that export less phosphorus. These properties are eligible for the DIY Native Landscaping Program. High phosphorus impact properties have water that runs directly to the streams or to Lake Whatcom. They have large lawns that export a lot of phosphorus in that runoff. They are eligible for larger projects and 5 types of BMPs. The Do-It-Yourself Native Landscaping Program converts lawn or retrofits your existing traditional landscaping into native landscaping. You add multiple layers of native plants with mulch. And the result is you reduce maintenance for yourself, reduce watering needs, and ultimately reduce phosphorus runoff into the lake. You also increase wildlife habitat in your yard. The type of assistance available for the Do-It-Yourself Native Landscaping Program includes design assistance, permitting application assistance, and reimbursement for improved materials. The program requirements include workshop attendance. In this case, you're listening to this workshop online. There's a minimum project size. For most properties, it's 1,000 square feet. A few smaller properties, it's a smaller number. Please see the custom map made for your property. There are certain planting and mulch requirements, and there's a maintenance agreement. To get an idea of the overall process involved in the DIY Native Landscaping Program, please pause this presentation right now and review pages 4 and 5 of your handbook. The DIY Native Landscaping Program has some planting requirements. You must plant at least 2 vegetation layers. Vegetation layers can be ground covers, shrubs, or tall trees. There's a minimum number of plants that will be required. Existing plants count. You are not required to remove existing plants. You can include them in your minimum density numbers. You must have at least 4 inches of low phosphorus mulch. 90% of your new plants must be native. And please use approved materials found in Appendix D. There's more detail in your handbook on pages 5 through 7. There are some additional features you can include in your native landscaping project. A wet garden is nothing more than installing native plants in wet areas, being sure to select plants that thrive in wet soil conditions. This is a good solution for a muddy, boggy area of your yard. You may also include a dry creek bed feature. This is an aesthetic feature using river rock instead of wood mulch. Please note there's special requirements in Whatcom County near shorelines and creeks where you may not be able to install this dry creek bed feature. Now we're going to review how reimbursement works for the Do-It-Yourself Native Landscaping Program. You can receive $1.30 per square foot of landscaped area up to $6,000 maximum. So for example, 1,000 square feet of native landscaped area gives you a reimbursement budget of $1,300. Many homeowners have zero or low out-of-pocket expenses if you do the work yourself. Labor is not reimbursable for the Do-It-Yourself Native Landscaping Program. 100% reimbursement of your materials is possible. Costs do vary based on the age and size of plants purchased and additional materials that you select to buy, including edging, irrigation supplies, and deer protection. Here's an example. This property has 3 planting areas: a backyard planting area, a front yard planting area, and a planting area in the street right-of-way. The total planting area is 3,450 square feet. Multiplied by $1.30 per square foot gives you a reimbursement budget of $4,485.